Hi everyone, and welcome to BikeMatters, powered by Lexham Insurance. Now in today's video, we're going to be running through some of the basic pre-ride checks that you should really be doing before you head out on your next ride, to ultimately keep you safe and also to keep your machine in tip-top condition. Now in today's video, we'll be running through the checks and using this as a demonstration model, the Aprilia 209 660 factory, and we'll also be running through some checks on the Aprilia Touareg Rally. Now the same thing can apply though, regardless of whether it's something like this or something like this, for example, or even whether it's a track toy, an adventure bike, something you plan a tour on, or maybe even your daily commute. The thinking applies as all the basic principle. But anyway, with that in mind, let's get into it. So moving into the check that I always do first before I head out on the road, chain and sprockets. Now it might seem something quite simple, but that is if your bike's not shaft drive or belt drive, which is a totally different thing. But on your chain, what you're really looking out for is it's not really any tight spots, it's the correct tension, which usually they'll put on a little sticky here, or if not, it'll be in your owner's manual, or even maybe consult the manufacturer's website. But what you're really looking out for here on the visual check, making sure that the teeth here on the sprocket, they're not hooked, so you want it to be straight and not sort of bent over. If they're bent over, it indicates that the sprocket really should probably be changed. But it's a very quick, easy visual inspection that you can do before you head out on the ride. And just make sure as well that your chain doesn't have any sort of tight spots as well, because that could be an indication that your chain is ready for a replacement. So basically make sure the tension's good, make sure the teeth on the sprocket aren't hooked, and basically make sure that the chain doesn't have any tight spots. Once you've done that, we can move on to the next check. So moving on to the second check, and what you really want to be looking out for is your clutch free play and the feeling of the brakes. Now in the clutch, you want to make sure there's plenty of free play, it's not sort of too tight or snatchy, and it's relatively free. Same principle kind of applies to the brake lever as well. You don't want to make it feel any sort of spongy or sort of hard to pull or anything like that. It needs to have some resistance to it, but you know, it sort of should feel good. Now the other thing is your brake fluid, and you need to make sure that when you're looking through the reservoir, some bikes have a little window, but some of them are clear reservoirs like this. It should be quite a sort of clear colour, sort of golden. If it's dark or sort of it's like a dark brown, that's not good. You should probably indicate that it needs to be changed. But yeah, in general, with your brakes, you want to make sure that your front lever has a good bit of sort of tension on it, and same with the back lever as well. Like I said, you don't want it to have any sort of spongy feeling or anything like that, because that could indicate air in the system. Now going on to that as well, what's also important is the brake pad life as well. You need to make sure your pads have plenty of life on them. They're not too worn down, because like I say, they can then possibly risk running on the backplate material, which is obviously never good. So basically just run through the second time, on the second check you go, just make sure your brake pads have got plenty of life in them, front and back. Your lever feels pretty confidence inspiring, and there's plenty of free play in the clutch as well. Once you've done that and you made sure your brake fluid's okay, we can then move on to the third check. Now moving on to the third check, and arguably one of the most important mechanical aspects to your bike. Now, we're going to talk about coolant and we're going to talk about oil. So as you're sort of running around the bike doing your checks, what you want to make sure is that your coolant is, because this is a liquid cooled bike, your coolant reservoir, which is sort of inconveniently a bit tucked up here, but just make sure it's between the minimum and the maximum mark. So as long as it's between their marks, you should be okay. Now, moving on to the oil, some bikes have a little window, like a little sight glass that I've done here, which is quite handy. You can sort of see the level of the oil, and also you actually see what colour it is. But if not, you can have like a little dipstick like this. It's just a simple case. You just literally unscrew it, wipe it clean, dip it back in, make sure the bike's level, and that'll tell you your oil. Now, of course, this is based on a liquid cooled bike. Now, if your bike is air cooled, obviously you're not going to have the coolant. So oil can then also arguably be more important to obviously aid that cooling. But yeah, basically just make sure that the oil is a decent colour. It's not jet black, because if it is, it might need to be changed. And just make sure that your coolant's between the minimum and the maximum mark if it's a liquid cooled bike like this. Once you've done them two, we can then move on to the next one. So now we'll check the coolant and also we'll check the oil. What you want to do next is look at your suspension and maybe the forks and the shock on the back. Now once you're looking at the shock on the back, you want to make sure that it's dry, it's not obviously leaking any oil. And in addition to that, you want to make sure that when you get the bike upright, it's got the right sort of rebounds and everything on it as well. Same sort of principle goes to the front. Now on this 209 660 factory, you get some rather nice gold upside down Öhlins forks. What you want to make sure is this is a dust seal on the outside. Inside that, behind there, you will find the actual fork seals. Now sometimes with age, they can deteriorate, they can dry, they can crack and they can perish. And what you'll see is sort of just lines of sort of oil, or sometimes in really serious situations, you actually find oil that's just dripping down here, which can obviously go into the discs, which is a massive hazard. And it also obviously affects all your fork performance as well and the whole handling of the bike. So basically, it's really a simple check, to be honest. Just go around the bike, make sure it feels okay. It's not too much dive on it. Make sure the rear shock's dry. And just make sure that your dust seals as well aren't too cracked or perished, and the actual stanchions on the forks are dry. So now we're moving on to the next check, which is arguably one of the most simplest and one of the most easiest ones you can do, and it's probably one of the quickest ones as well. So of course, now your bike, you've probably realised it's obviously got all the switches for your high beams and everything else. You just want to run around the bike and make sure basically all your lights are working, that there's no warnings on the dash and everything else. So on this Tuono, unfortunately, you can't actually put the lights on unless you start the bike up. But what you're basically making sure is that everything's kind of working okay. Your indicators, and if you can't see around the back or whatever, you can literally just use a reflection. Just making sure that both of them are working front and back, which they are. And then once you start it up on this bike, you just want to make sure that your main beam's working. And you can either do that by looking at the flash or by looking at a wall in front of you. Now what I did there as well is I just want to make sure that the kill switch is working too. It's a very simple check. It's literally just a case of running around the bike and basically making sure that all your electronics are safe and working, and to make sure as well that your headlight beam, if you can put it against a wall or a garage door or something like that, what you want to make sure is that the beam isn't set too high so you're not going to dazzle other road users. Aside from that, it's basically self-explanatory. So now on to arguably one of the simplest checks you can possibly do when you're running around your bike before you head out on the road. It's just making sure that the throttle has a lot of free play in it, it springs back, it's not catching, because of course if your throttle's sticking, if it's sticking really badly, that could mean that you can't shut the throttle when you're out on the road, and you don't want to think how that can end. So it's literally just a case of come to the bike and literally just pulling the throttle and just making sure that it's not sticking, and the rebound on it is actually quite quick and snappy as well. It's basically as simple as that. So now moving on to tyres, and again this is another one of those visual checks that's pretty simple and easy to take out. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that the tyre on the back is curved and it's not square. Now tyres as they age on bikes naturally become quite square on the back. The tread pattern physically goes square on the back. You can normally see it when you stand here. Now what that means is the bike's not going to handle as well, it's going to be a bit harder to tip in on a bend, and it's just not going to be very pleasant to ride. But what's more important than that is you want to make sure that the tyre's not got cracks or wear or any sort of forms of things that you wouldn't want to see on it. So no nails, no screws, no bulges or anything like that, or no cuts. Now unfortunately on this, there is actually signs that there's been a nail on it before, and it has split down here. So that's something I've noticed, and I would not want to take that out on the road. Now it's not just all about wear and tear on the bike, because what you've got to think as well is if the bike's been sat for a while in the winter, there'll be flat spots on the bottom of the tyre sometimes, and of course that's something that you then want to get changed. Now another thing on the bike, even if the tyre tread looks good, there's not too much wear in it, you want to look for the date code. Now on here it says 3725, the 25 indicates 2025. Now if the tyre is really old, sort of over 10 years old, or yeah, I'd say about that actually, you kind of maybe want to be looking at getting it changed, even if the tyre tread itself looks perfect. Tyres age and the rubber deteriorates and it's not going to be as effective, and they do tend to go quite hard as well. So it's just a simple visual check. Just go around the bike, make sure that there's nothing untoward in the tyres or foreign objects, make sure it's round, and yeah, make sure they've got the correct pressures as well, especially if you're going touring or maybe on a track day. And yeah, it's just one of those simple visual checks that maybe takes a matter of a few seconds. So moving across to the Aprilia Touareg Rally. Now of course this is one of the most popular bikes if you're going to be using green lanes or maybe if you're heading off-road. Now if you are doing that, now tyre choice and tyre pressure matter arguably more here. Now of course grip levels are going to be a lot less, so this bike comes fitted with Pirelli Scorpion Rally SDR tyres, which are obviously a great choice. But what you want to make sure as well is that your tyre pressures are correct for whatever you're doing. Sometimes people like to drop the pressures, which is maybe a good choice depending on the conditions that you're heading out to. Another factor to consider as well is if you are using green lanes, what you've got to remember is that they are technically still public roads, albeit unmaintained or unsurfaced, so your bike does need to be road legal, fitted with a plate, lights, indicators, all the rest of it. Of course, that's no issue on the Touareg Rally because it comes as a road legal bike anyway, but don't think you can just head out into a green lane with sort of any sort of, I don't know, competition bike or something like that. Now, what you also want to make sure is that the chain and the sprockets are pretty clean and free of dirt and debris and what as well. Of course, if you are heading off-road or green laning, you're going to be maybe going through some fords or some deep water, mud and that sort of thing. So afterwards, just make sure that your chain's cleaned off, it's rinsed off, and it's also re-lubricated as well. What you've got to remember as well is the controls. The throttle and clutch, much like the Tuono, need to be free and pretty snappy. Last thing you want is a stuck throttle if you are heading off-road. And also, if you have maybe put some taller bars or something on it, of course this is a factory bike, but just make sure that basically when you turn the bars, they are free of obstructions, it's not going to snag or anything like that. Now, the Touareg Rally does come with a pretty substantial thick bash plate as standard. If your bike doesn't have that, it might be worth maybe adding it, or maybe some engine protection bars as well. But if you are heading off green laning, just make sure that your tyres are suitable, they're the correct pressures, and the bike is basically well suited and set up to do it. Now heading back to the Tuono 660 factory. Now, of course, if you've got a bike like this, would be in the factory trim as well, you're probably going to be having track days in mind. Now, what you've got to bear in mind is you've got to do all your rider checks as we've covered in the video so far, but additional checks, you've got to remember that you've got to put the correct pressures in for the tyres. Now, track pressures are obviously going to be different to road pressures, and you also got to make sure there's enough pad life left in your brakes as well. Now, if you head on track and your pads are maybe a little bit low, or maybe they're not the right compound for the track, then obviously you're going to burn through the pads a lot quicker. Or if you head on track with pads that are maybe a little bit low, they're not going to last very long anyway. So make sure that your brake pads have got good life in them, they're set up for the track, and your tyres are also a good pressure as well. Now, you've got to also bear in mind that if you've got any sort of belly pans on the bike, not necessarily on this one of course, but all the fairings, all the panels, screens, everything is basically attached to the bike needs to be fixed down properly. Now, it's also just as important to know the organiser's rules, the noise levels as well, because you don't want to turn to track, say with a full straight pipe. They get the decibel meter out and they go, oh, you're too loud, or maybe they pass you through and you head down on track, do a flyby, and they take you back in on a black flag. So you don't want that either. So now moving on to some of the checks that maybe aren't immediately obvious because they're not necessarily visual checks on the bike itself. Now, with terms of insurance and also legality, you need to make sure that obviously the bike is taxed, is MOT'd, and obviously it's insured for the correct purpose as well. Now, of course, vehicle tax, unless you get a reminder, I suppose that could be something that could easily be missed. Likewise, I suppose I've heard of some people as well, they've even forgot to MOT their bike before they've even gone out. But I suppose you've got to make sure as well is that whatever your bike is insured under, it needs to be used for that correct purpose. If you're commuting to and from work and you don't have commuting on your policy, you need to make sure that gets added. Likewise, not like you would on this bike, of course, but if you're doing sort of delivery ride or anything like that, that also needs to be added to your policy. It's also worth bearing in mind as well, if you're heading out to a track day, don't just assume that your standard road policy will cover you for track use as well, because a lot of the times they won't do that and you'll need to get separate track insurance. Now, of course, also if the bike's got any modifications, not that this one does because it's a bone stock bike, but if it does have any modifications, even a can, maybe some, I don't know, a bit of custom paint or even a screen or anything like that, that also needs to be declared to your insurer. And that could actually maybe affect the claim should one unfortunately have to go through. But if there's any doubt about that, just check your policy wording before you head out. Make sure you've got the right level of cover and just make sure that basically everything is right for you, the bike, and also your insurance policy. And also don't forget to make sure that it's also taxed and also MOT'd. So now moving back to the Touareg Rally, with mind of touring checks if you are planning to do a bit of distance. Maybe you're heading on the NC500 or up in Scotland, or maybe even heading towards Switzerland or somewhere exotic, or maybe somewhere nice in Europe. Wherever it may be, if you're heading out and planning to do a tour, you need to make sure that your checks are even more vital before you go. Again, it's very much like what we've already covered. So it's basically, it's just your tyres, your brakes, your chain, all your fluids, your battery condition, and everything else on the bike, as well as obviously your suspension. Now, it's even more important to make sure that if you are loading up the bike with all your luggage, like I say, you might put a dry bag over the back, maybe a couple of panniers, maybe a tank bag up here. Whatever it may be, if you're adding luggage to the bike, make sure that it's strapped down properly, it's secure, and it's not got any risk of coming off. Maybe, I don't know, if you're heading down the M11, for example. In addition to that, what's also worth bearing in mind is if you're taking someone else on a tour with you, and you say you've got rider, pillion, and then you add, I don't know, all your bags on the back, your dry bag, maybe even if you have a top box on it, for example. That might seem fine in concept, but make sure that you're under the max permissible weight. Now, all bikes have a max permissible weight on it. And you've got to think, if you are rider, pillion, all your luggage, that could put you over the limit, it could affect the handling, and ultimately it could even become illegal. So just make sure you check that figure. I mean, most bikes sort of sit around sort of the 200 kilos and sort of up mark, so normally you're okay, but some bikes are on the lighter side, especially if it's a smaller capacity machine. Now, if it is overloaded, like I say, obviously that could become illegal, and also it could affect the handling, so make sure that's done before you go. And what's also important is to make sure that you route plan correctly, check the weather forecast. It's just sort of basic things, but sometimes they can be overlooked. Whatever you do though, just make sure that you're not going to be heading down sort of any sort of undulating roads or anything like that that could affect you, especially if you are fully loaded. You don't exactly want to be heading up sort of steep mountain passes and like that, for example, if you are pretty heavy. So that just about wraps up this video on the pre-ride checks, no matter whether it's something like this, the 660 factory, or something like this, the Touareg Rally. So whether you're heading on maybe a track day, a tour, or maybe some green laning, the point matters that you should always do some pre-ride checks before you head out, just to make sure that your bike's safe and ultimately make sure that your machine is in tip-top health. Now, if something doesn't look or feel right, it probably indicates that it's probably not. So it's best to get that checked before you head out on the road and maybe risk your safety, maybe the bike, or even someone else in the worst case scenario. So anyway, I hope that's been useful, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to ride safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.